ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we'll proceed. Okay, so we are starting the ninth chapter, passing away Bhishma Dev in the presence of Lord Krishna. Text 1. Suta Uvacha iti bita praja droha sarvadharma vivitsaya tato vinashanam pragat yatra deva pratopatat. Suta Goswami said, being afraid for having killed so many subjects on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthira went to the scene of the massacre. There Bhishma Dev was lying on a bed of arrows about to pass away. So Bhishma Dev had this benediction to give up his body, Ichamaran, whenever he wanted and however he wanted. So he chose to lie down on the bed of arrows, and he will, in this course of this chapter, decide the time when he is going to give up his body. So Bhishma Dev was lying on the bed of arrows, about to pass away. Tada te bharata bhratara sarve sadashvai swarna bhushitai anvagachandather vipra vyasadomyadayastatha. At the time all his brothers followed him on beautiful chariots drawn by first-class horses, decorated with gold ornaments. With them were Vyasa and rishis like Dhomya, a learned priest of the Pandavas, and others. Bhagavanapi viprarshe rathena sadhananjayah sater vyarochatta dripaha kuvera iva bhushyakai. O sage amongst the Brahmanas, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of God, had also followed, seated on a chariot with Arjuna. So fortunate, always Krishna is with Arjuna. Thus, King Yudhishthira appeared very aristocratic like Kuvera, surrounded by his companions, the Vishyakas. दृष्ट्वा निपतितं भूमौ दिवश्च्युतम् इवामरं प्रणेमुः पाण्डवा भीष्मं सानुगा सह चक्रिणा. Seeing him, Bhishma, lying on the ground like a demigod fallen from the sky, the Pandava king Yudhishthira, along with his younger brothers and Lord Krishna, bowed down before him. And so Krishna bowed down because he was showing the world, dharma, how to act, human customs. So he is bowing down to Bhishma Dev. Tatra brahmarshayas sarve devarshayascha sattama rajarshayascha tatrasan drashtum bharata pungavam. Just to see the chief of the descendants of King Bharata, Bhishma, all great souls in the universe, namely the rishis among demigods, devarshis, brahmanas, and kings, were rajarshis, all situated in the quality of goodness, were assembled there. So all situated in the quality of goodness, because people in the mode of passion ignorance won't be engaged in this kind of activity. They don't have time. The other one doesn't understand the significance of any of this. So, but here, all of them in the quality of goodness were assembled here. Parvato narado dhaumyo bhagavan badarayanaha pradashvo bharadvaja shashishyo renuka sutaha vasishta indra pramadas trito gritsamado stitaha kakshivan gautamo trishcha kaushikotha sudarshanaha. all the sages like Parvata Muni, Narada, Dhaumya, Vyasa, the incarnation of God, Brihadashva, Bharadwaja, and Parshurama, and disciples Vasishta, Indrapramada, Trita, Gritsamada, Asita, Kakshivan, Gautama, Atri, Kaushika, and Sudarshan were present. Please read this purport. Okay, so this has a complete description about who these personalities were, what was their significance. So there is no, there's not much philosophical this, but it is very purifying to read about all these great personalities, especially the devotees in this list. So kindly read about all of them and get understanding of who they are. And Sudarshana is the wheel, actually. Sudarshana Chakra, he was also present. अन्ये च मुनयो ब्रह्मन् भ्रमरातादयो मलाः शिष्यैरुपेता जग्मु Kashyapangirasadayah. And many others like Shukadeva Goswami and other purified souls, Kashyapa and Angirasa and others, all accompanied by their respective disciples, arrived there. Okay, here also Shukadeva Goswami, Kashyapa, Angirasa. You can read about them in the purport. Tan sametan mahabhagan upalabhya vasuttamah pujayamasa dharmagno deshakala vibhagavit. Bhishma Deva, who was the best among the 8 Vasus, received and welcomed all the great and powerful rishis who were assembled there, for he knew perfectly all the religious principles according to time and place. So he was lying on a bed of arrows, but he knew perfectly well all the religious principles according to time and place. That means that he was in complete control over his existence, right? Even though he was dying. It's a great lesson for devotees. Expert religionists know perfectly well how to adjust religious principles in terms of time and place, because they are saying here Bhishma Dev knew how to act based on time and place. All the great acharyas or religious preachers or reformers of the world executed their mission by adjustment of religious principles in terms of time and place. And please note the very specific use of these words. Great acharyas, reformers of the world, they executed their mission by adjustment of religious principles in terms of time and place. Now, this adjustment of religious principles has to be done by acharyas. Okay, now in ISKCON, this is on new fashion that we will not follow what Prabhupada has done. We will find out some new path because time, place, circumstance. Now, when Prabhupada said that his books are the law books for the next 10,000 years, and it's just 50 years past Prabhupada's disappearance. And we think that Prabhupada is such an ordinary person that he couldn't see 50 years ahead. That we are requiring to change the preaching process, change the approach, do bridge preaching, don't tell people not to read Prabhupada's books because it's too heavy or too straightforward, or eliminate some parts of Prabhupada's books because they are too bold, people cannot take it. So we have become acharyas now because time, place, circumstance, we are deciding. And we are deciding that we are better acharyas, bigger acharyas than Prabhupada. So we should not get into this business. We should simply follow what Prabhupada is given and it works. No doubt. There are different climates and situations in different parts of the world, and if one has to discharge his duties to preach the message of the Lord, he must be expert in adjusting things in terms of time and place. So this Prabhupada only said, for example, in the Western country, you can't wear dhoti kurta. Okay, wear pant and shirt. But the important thing was to preach the message of the Lord. But all these Prabhupada has already given us. So if you just clearly understand what Prabhupada did and why he did, we can simply follow that. We don't have to invent new things. Bhishma Dev was one of the 12 great authorities in preaching this cult of devotional service, Mahajana, and therefore he could receive and welcome all the powerful sages assembled there at his deathbed from all parts of the universe. He was certainly unable at that time to welcome and receive them physically because he was neither at his home nor in a normal healthy condition. But he was quite fit by the activities of his sound mind, and therefore he could utter sweet words with hearty expressions, and all of them were well received. So beautiful. See, sound mind, first of all. So we should understand that this is very important for devotees to have a sound mind, and not just at the time of leaving the body, at all times. We should have a sound mind. So, how do we develop a sound mind? By practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna nicely every day. Our mind will come under control, and when it is disturbed, Dhiras tatra namoyati, we become dhira. We are not disturbed by the disturbing situation. So though he was dying, he would have had pain in his body, but because he had a sound mind, the pain in his body was not affecting him. So he could utter sweet words. Just imagine he's lying on, deathbed, and he's saying nice things, inviting people with hearty expressions on his face. So beautiful, just above the material bodily platform. And all of them were well received. So this is a constant sadhana for us to develop this sound mind, which is why irrespective of what our circumstances are, how trying they are, we should stick to our vows of devotional service. And we've seen generally people, when everything is going good, they'll say, I'll do devotion. When things go bad, we just drop it. In fact, when things go bad, we have to do more intense sadhana, because that's what will be required then to hold us, in bhakti. And for us to be able to do that, we should be in the association of such devotees. Simple. If you are in the association of weak-minded devotees, then we will not be able to go through the difficulty. If you are in the association of devotees who say, it's okay, 1 or 2 months, it's okay, let your sadhana go down. But after 2 months, there's no guarantee that we will recover from that situation. And maybe we'll just slip from our bhakti. So sometimes, devotees going through trouble, and when they're in the association of such devotees, and when they hear things like, no, try harder, fight your situation, people might feel, Arey Baba, this is too hard, too harsh. But it's not harsh. It's the only thing that we can do, because suffering anyway, we can't mitigate, we can't stop suffering. But we should still, serve Krishna with a sound mind. So we have to keep our mind sound, meaning, we have to keep it alert for Krishna consciousness. So nice. This is quality that all of us should develop. Krishnam chatat prabhavagna asinam jagadishwaram hridistam pujayamasa mayayopata vigraham. Lord Shri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. So we should understand Krishna's form is also manifested by his internal potency. Radharani's form is also manifested by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Deva, and since Bhishma Deva knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. This is the reason why Krishna came here, because Bhishma Deva wanted to give up his body in the presence of the Lord. And so the Lord is fulfilling the desire of his devotee. And even though he is on his deathbed, Bhishma Deva offers beautiful prayers, glorifies the Lord. And again, both these chapters, right? Like previous one, 8th chapter, Kunti Maharani's prayers and Bhishma Deva's prayers and their life is a real inspiration for devotees. Real inspiration. If we are having a difficult this life, then we should get inspired by seeing these people and how they perform bhakti in such trying circumstances. Very, very inspiring. The Lord's arm, oh, where is it? Sorry. Okay, nothing much here. Mindful. Panuputranupasinaan prashraya prema sangatan abhyachashtanuragashrer andibhutena chakshusha. Andhibhutena chakshusha. The sons of Maharaja Pandu were sitting silently nearby, overtaken with affection for their dying grandfather. Seeing this, Bhishma Dev congratulated them with feeling. There were tears of ecstasy in his eyes, for he was overwhelmed by love and affection. He was very happy that Pandavas got their, well-deserved position. Yudhishthira became the emperor. So though he had to fight on their opposite party, he was very, very happy and he congratulated them with feeling, no hypocrisy. And he was overwhelmed by love and affection. So we should understand this. So this love and affection, it's not that we don't have love and affection on the spiritual platform. We should just give up this love and affection on the material platform, because love and affection material platform is temporary and it will only result in suffering. But we should have love and affection on the spiritual platform. And that's the beautiful relationship between devotees. So we should always look at this positively, engage with devotees, like-minded devotees, with whom we can exchange love and affection. They care for us, they understand us. And many times I've seen people are become so impersonal, even among devotees. They become so impersonal. Personally suffering, no question, nothing. You know, it becomes like mechanical. And they say, no, it's exalted. Like we have gone above the bodily platform. So we don't talk about each other's body. No, we don't have to talk about each other's body, but we talk about how their service is. Do they need any help in rendering their service? Right? But we shouldn't be so overly transcendental that we don't even care for devotees. It's not really transcendental. It's just hard-heartedness. That's all. We don't have to get too sucked into the material platform of pain and pleasure and all that. But, devotees will require help. Some people might require, various kinds of help they might require in their situations. We can try to help to whatever extent possible. And Krishna is very pleased when we try to help devotees. It's very, very important. All of us should try this. But it should be on the spiritual platform. That we should remember. We should not get down to the material platform with devotees. Aho kashtam aho nyayam yadyuyam dharma nandanaah jivitum narhata klishtam vipradharma chutashrayah. Bhishma Deva said, oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustice you good souls suffer. Why? For being sons of the religion personified. You're trying to uphold dharma. And because you're trying to uphold dharma, you are having to suffer terribly. Terrible sufferings, terrible injustices. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations, which means it was so bad that you should have literally died. Yet, you are protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion. God, Dharma, Achyuta Ashrayaha. You are protected by them. As long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and strictly following religious principles, one has no cause for despondency, however trying the circumstances of life. We should not feel despondent, sad, depressed. Oh, I can't deal with this. As long as we are in full cooperation with the wishes of the Lord. So we are trying to follow his instructions, we're doing sadhana, we are engaged in seva, we are engaged in teaching, and we are guided by bona fide Vaishnavas, and we are strictly following religious principles. We are following four regulative principles. We are trying to follow everything. And still we are suffering. One has no cause for despondency. You don't have to feel bad, depressed, sad. However, trying the circumstances of life might be very difficult, but we should not become despondent. We should understand this is the desire of the Lord. If somebody is so sincere that, they're like this, no material desires, fully in cooperation with wishes of the Lord means no material desires. only desires to please the Lord and Guru and Krishna. They're guided by bona fide Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, strictly following all the tattvas, regulatory principles. Then why should we become despondent? We should become despondent only if we are not practicing bhakti properly, for which we should put all effort so that we can try to practice. But we should not feel despondent about our material situation. However trying it is, it's just Krishna's mercy that he wants us to get rid of some anarthas. So he's helping us out, which is mercy. Why should we feel sad about it? संस्थिते तीरथे पांडौ पृथा बाल प्रजावधूः युष्मत्कृते बहून् क्लेशान् प्राप्ता तोखवती मुहुः. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great general Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. It was not that Pandavas were willingly getting into some trouble, behaving badly, but because of Duryodhana's, the way he was dealing with Pandavas, unfortunately, they were all getting into trouble, and thereby Kunti Maharani was also getting into trouble. So she suffered a great deal. Kunti Maharani's life is also full of suffering. When one is destined to suffer by providence, this one has to tolerate without being disturbed. And for a person who is surrendered to Krishna, there is no question of despondence. So it's all Krishna's will. So we simply have to just tolerate. Tattenukampa susamikshaman. We have to simply tolerate and go on with our duties, religious duties of bhakti. Sarvam kalakritam manye bhavatam cha yadapriyam sapalo yadvashe loko vayor ivagriha ghanavalihi. In my opinion, because see, this is also very interesting actually. In Vedic practice, if somebody is giving their own opinion, they will say in my opinion. Otherwise, whatever they're saying is based on Shastra. So in my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time. Under whose control everyone in every planet is carried. Just as the clouds are carried by wind. This is all due to inevitable time. Who is time? Time is Krishna. Kala controls everything in this material world, and Krishna controls Kala. One should not grudge being thus controlled by time, because time is a representative of Krishna. Despite being a true follower of religious principles, we might feel, oh, see, I'm doing everything properly. Why am I still suffering? Don't grudge it, because it is Krishna. You should not grudge. Oh, why me? Why this? Why that? Why should I suffer like this? No. It is Krishna. So tolerate and learn. We should try to learn from our situations. Yatra dharmasuto raja gadapanirvrkodaraha krishno strigandivam chapam surut krishnastato vipat. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. How wonderful. It is irreversible. It's irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion? In the presence of Bhima, the great fighter with a club? In the presence of the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gandiva? And above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. See, this is the beauty of a devotee, right? He doesn't forget the Lord. Duryodhana totally forgot the Lord. And that's why he met with his destruction. Bhishma, because he is one of the Mahajanas, he's saying, okay, all of you have all your qualities, you're son of Dharma, you're a great fighter, you're Gandiva, but all more above everything, more important than everything else, is that your Lord on your side. And he's the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas, not indirect, direct. He's just there, right with you, helping you out. Even in spite of him being there, how can there be reverses? It is all because of the influence of inevitable time. And who is inevitable time? Krishna. So Krishna on one side, Krishna on the other side. Both are Krishna. But one is under the control of the other. Kala is under the control of Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Materially, they were well equipped because two great warriors, namely Bhima and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was a symbol of religion. And above all of them, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, was personally concerned with their affairs as a well-wisher. And Krishna is personally concerned with any of his devotees who surrender to him. And yet there were so many reverses in the side of the Pandavas. Pandavas only had to suffer. What about us? We are nothing in front of any of these great devotees. Despite the power of pious acts, the power of personalities, the power of expert management, power of weapons, under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kala, inevitable time. Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. We don't have to lament. We don't have to become despondent. We have to just suffer and know that this is Krishna's will for my betterment, to take me closer to him. So, beautiful lesson for how we should deal with reversals in our life and how we should continue to be committed and serve the Supreme Lord and, serve Guru and Krishna. Yes, so I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, we can take it.